When we left off, we were hard at work continuing the refit on Makara. In the middle of winter here in the Pacific Northwest, rain is pretty much a constant factor, alerting us to any leaks on board.
Right on the corner where it's leaking.
Unfortunately, one of the leaks we found was coming from our brand new hatch.
Yeah,
I can see water squishing out that corner. Yeah, squishing out there. We are just reinstalling our big hatch up here. Unfortunately, for the third time, is this our third time installing it? We've had some bad luck with these hatches that we got. First one we got, it was leaking through the hinges. We fixed that, and then it started leaking through the acrylic. We had a second one that we were going to put in the aft cabin, so we pulled that one off and put a new one on up here for a second time, and that one started leaking through the bedding of the acrylic as well. So we got a replacement one from Lumar here, and we're putting our third one down, and we are hoping that it's not going to leak, but I don't know.
Today, guys, we are out in Port Townsend, Washington, the home of where Varuna is right now.
Her little home on dry land, hopefully temporarily. Just coming to check up on her because we have some exciting news.
We may have a buyer for Varuna, someone who knows her very well, a couple from this area actually, and they're excited to take Varuna onward and maybe take her up to Alaska area even, or something like that, up towards the Inside Passage.
Inside Passage, yeah, the islands around here.
So that's going to take a little while to get everything sorted with the sail, and hopefully if that all goes through, we'll be down to one boat again. Won't that be exciting?
That'll be very, very exciting.
Today we've got a few errands to do, so we're going to get out of here from Port Townsend because we're going to now make our way over to Seattle. As you probably know, we've had issues with our Lumar hatches, and we've got two of them in the car, brand new ones, that are both leaking through the acrylic. We're going to take that to their warranty service boatyard that they have a partnership with up here.
Hopefully they can get them fixed up for us so we can get the second hatch installed in the aft cabin.
As you know, we've said we're quite disappointed with how those hatches have turned out so far, but let's hope that everything gets handled well and that will maybe restore our faith.
Basically a giant box to put big planks of wood in, and you steam them so that you can bend them to the shape of whatever you need on the boat.
It's pretty cool. They've built this box out here, and then you can see they're just putting these giant, basically trees that have been cut down. The entire plank is inside the steam bender. I think they're probably steaming it for a good couple of hours, and then they are feeding it. This hole right behind you goes straight into where the boat is, where they're building. So they were literally feeding it out again through the hole, and I'm guessing they're not even building it to a form. They're probably laying it straight on the boat, and that'll hold its shape. Pretty cool.
We're at one of the shipyards here in Port Townsend, and inside that big building behind me, where we can't get to, they are restoring a famous old boat. That's what the steam bender's for right now. The boat inside there is the Western Flyer, and that boat is famous from the John Steinbeck and Ed Ricketts book, Log from the Sea of Cortez. Someone has bought the boat and is trying to restore it back to its original form, shape, basically rebuilding it from the planks, the ground, whatever you want to say, up. And a lot of work going into it.
Well, this is one of our Lumar hatches, and I think we might have talked a little bit about this, but we have had nothing but trouble with our hatches in general. We got these new beautiful big hatches from Lumar, and this is now, we've had 3 or 4 of them, and they have been consistently leaking, brand new from the factory. They've been, Lumar, the company themselves, has been relatively helpful, and that's why we're up here today to try and get this repaired. But we have had consistent leaking right through here, which is underneath the actual acrylic from the factory, brand new out of the box. We're not sure why that is happening, if we've just got a bad batch or something, but we're up here in Seattle today. We're at the Miller & Miller boatyard. We're gonna go take it in and see what they can do. I think they handle Lumar factory warranties and stuff like that. On the other side, you can see, this is the butyl tape that we put on, so you can kind of get a look at what the butyl tape is. It's like a flexible, well, it is a flexible kind of putty, and it's really great adhesive and really good at sealing things. So this is what we took off, and it stays flexible for a long time. So great stuff. We have not had any leaking underneath this, but we're gonna see what we can do about everything else.
We are trying to tackle our leaking mast boot. I just peeled off everything that was on there. There was a bunch of tape and kind of like a inner tube type of thing that was hose clamped around at several points. Just peeled all that stuff off, and now we can see what's underneath.
It's just kind of tearing apart.
A mast boot is something that's found on any keel-stepped mast and is designed to create a protective covering for any gaps, sealing out water.
Thanks to a tip from one of you guys out there, we have a new idea for sealing up our mast boot. What we're doing is using a toilet wax ring. We actually have 2 that we've joined together. And what we're doing is kind of working that all around the flange where the mast goes through the deck, and that should work really good to seal it up. Once these guys suggested it to us, we did a little bit of research on it, and it sounds like, from what we've been reading, it is a really watertight way to seal your mast, so we are excited to try it out.
This is one of the few things that is probably really good to do on a freezing cold day, and it's about freezing outside, but it actually makes working with this wax maybe a little bit easier. I'm going to run the heat gun over it to try and make sure it's nice and loose and kind of settles in some of the places, but it looks like it's a pretty good seal right now. So thank you to the guys on SV Jazz for this amazing tip. It is super cheap because you're talking about a couple of bucks for each of these wax rings, so all up, you know, like $4 or $5 to get this on around the mast. It should give us a really watertight seal, and then we're going to cover this up and protect it somehow. We're not 100% sure on if we're going to run some tape around on top of this. Right now we're thinking of just doing a sunbrella, like a canvas kind of cover around it that'll be velcroed around it, but not for watertight, just to keep the wax out of the sun basically.
Wax ring in place, we then ran a bead of Sikaflex sealant around the base of the mounting bracket to ensure there were no possibilities of any other leaks. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please remember to give us a thumbs up and hit the bell to subscribe and get notified of new episodes. Until next time.